Hello, Dr. Nelson. Thanks for joining me. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you
That's
for
awesome.
having me here. Uh,
Thank you. I got to tell you.
hold on. I I had a feedback from another tab. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Your pictures behind you are incredible. It's just amazing. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people's stories. Yeah, it's just, it's, it's insane how what we eat can affect so much more than just what the scale says. So
It's
I
a
want
it's
to
a
go
big
through the chat a little bit, and then we're going to get into how you got started with keto and carnivore and your background and all that kind of thing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to address the chat real quick.
Oh, by all means, go ahead. It's
Yeah, share.
like if it was your show.
Yeah, thank you. Sherry Nevada Pup is here. Hello, my fellow hail raisers. And I got to say, Dr. Nelson, when you join us on Wednesdays, you are part of us hail raisers. Long story there. Amy saying hi, Cindy, Dr. Nelson, and Sherry. And just saying hi. And Lynn is here. Good evening, Cindy, Dr. Nelson, Sherry, Amy,
Hello,
Shauna.
hello.
Hello, Shauna. I hope you are feeling better. She's been having a tough time. Hello, Brian. Good evening, everyone. And this is my husband, Brian, out in the other room somewhere.
Hello, Brian.
And this is what he goes by. You know this if you've been watching us. He's my guinea pig. There's Aaron, Miss Booby
Hello,
Goats.
Aaron. Hmm.
Don Schunger, good evening. Good evening. I had never seen Dr. Nelson's before pictures. Amazing. Yes, they are. Sandy Blythe is here. Hello, Sandy. I'm sure you're going to recognize a lot of these names from
Oh,
Dr.
already
Kiltz's.
plenty of them also frequent Dr. Kiltz channels.
Yep, I try. It's too early. It's like when I had to do it, I was just getting back from a bowling tournament
Uh-huh.
like the weekend before, and I was like, set your alarm, otherwise you're not going to get up.
Karen,
But it was
are you the
good.
one? Are you the one who lives here in the Barry? Uh,
Karen lives in Florida. Yes, Karen,
okay. Uh, I don't know.
Cindy, and her neighbor.
Yeah.
What was you saying?
Well, I'm in Florida, but there is someone that lives very close to where I live, and I don't know if
Oh,
it
yeah.
was her or. Yes, we're all in Florida, the free state
Yeah.
of Florida, like I call it.
Carnivore Zen. So, hi, Dr. Vasquez and Cindy. Hello.
Hello.
And if I said that name wrong, I'm sorry. Is it
No,
Vasquez or Vasquez?
no. You got it right the first time.
Vasquez. Okay. Good. Dr. Nelson, I had a fresh picanha cooked on the grill.
I have 5 picañas in my refrigerators and freezers right now.
Yeah. Oh, I see, Sandy. You said Amy. I thought you were just saying hi to Amy also. But Sandy, it's okay. It's quite all right. We're all friends here. Carnivore Junkie, hello, hello. Now I'm just going to whiz through these so we can hear Dr. Nelson's story because, he interviews other people. And if you have not, there's his link coming up in the chat. If you haven't subscribed to Dr. Nelson, do so. He's got a growing channel, but he's usually under Dr. Kiltz's. So give him some going on here. Yes.
Thank you.
Cleaning my house and not paying
And if you
attention to the chat.
and if you have a story to tell, send me an email. We'll put you on the schedule.
That's right. And when we're done here, Dr. Nelson, if you could message me all your information on how to get hold of you, and I'll put it in the description of this video. I've got a YouTube channel, I've got it, but anywhere else like Instagram, I know you're on here through Instagram and YouTube. So you send me your information for those. I'll put it in the description.
All right.
Alrighty. Sorry, but it's too early for me too. Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning. Woo. Sandy's in North Florida. Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Nelson, I live
It
in
was
DeBary.
okay. I thought I was right. She's the one.
All right. I send you Dr. Nelson, and this is Karen. Hi to all in the chat. And Andy is here, just finishing up dinner. I was just talking to her about an hour ago. She said, I got to cook dinner so I can be at the live stream. There's Dr. Nelson's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. That was just one cut off the whole picanha, he says. Hi, Karen. Andy just subscribed. And Shauna is saying hi, and we're going to stop there. So, I backstage, we were talking a little bit. You are a family practitioner for 30 some years, 35 years.
So I graduated from medical school 41 years ago. This coming December,
Nice.
and did my residency. Finished my residency in family medicine in '88. So in practice for 37 years, but as
Very
a
nice.
doctor, almost 41. Yeah.
Very nice. Now, keto and carnivore kind of came your way when?
So I've been aware of low carbohydrate because of what probably most of us have been aware, which is Dr. Atkins, right?
Yep.
Dr.
Yep.
Atkins started in the 60s promoting this way of eating. His first book, I think, was published in the 70s. I have a cousin who in the 70s was eating this strange thing where she was eating a lot of meat. And it happens to have been the Atkins diet. I later did the Atkins diet myself several times. I've been so successful at losing 40 pounds over and over and over. Of course, I go off plan and regain them all the time. But I've even in my own practice since the 90s, I've been recommending to the patients, especially patients with diabetes, which is the ultimate metabolic dysfunction that you can have, the ultimate risk for almost everything, including cancer, coronary heart disease, strokes, not to mention the heart attacks and the cut off limbs that you will eventually have.
Yeah, my husband is a type 1 diabetic since he was 2 years old. Yeah.
So he doesn't know anything else because at 2, you really, most people don't remember their life at 2. So everything he's known his whole life has been type 1. I have a sister with type 1 since I was about 12 when that happened. So that was one of my earliest encounters with disease. Besides my brother, which is another story we can talk in a minute.
Sure.
But had not personally stuck with it as a person using the Atkins diet. And then about 3 years ago, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm a physician helping people, and I have documented stories that I have saved dozens, who knows if hundreds of lives, because a lot of my 40 almost years were in the emergency room. So I've saved lives, but I wasn't saving myself by maybe eliminating the things. I've been, let's see, here. So most of my career as a doctor has been this guy. And when you go to your doctor and your doctor is looking like that, even if he can have the knowledge to help you. Sometimes you wonder, okay, you're not following your own advice. So almost 3 years ago, I said, no, I'm gonna go strict keto. I already knew what to do. Didn't have to read any more books or anything else. I just went ahead and did it. And then about 6 months later, I had to turn the screws on my way of eating because I wanted to control my blood sugars better. So I
Right.
went carnivore, and that really made the difference.
That's awesome. That's something not everybody can do,
And
but
it's
I know
okay.
it's
It's
done a
okay.
fantastic job for so many people that I've interviewed, and it's fantastic.
But you have had a lot of success
Yes.
with the way you eat, and I'm teaching a course right now with Dr. Kiltz to become a certified Kiltz health coach.
Mhm.
And yes, most of those even taking the course are probably carnivores. I'm mostly carnivore, but I think if we look at the statistics, some studies recent in the past few years show that 88% of the population is metabolically sick. Some
Mhm.
others show 93%. So if you take 90% as as the average, 90% of the population is metabolically sick.
Yep.
I deal with patients. I'm trying to get those patients from where they are to do better. Wherever they are, it doesn't matter. We want to do better, which we can set a goal, but anytime you move from where you are to better, it's a success, right?
Absolutely.
So I have to meet the patient where they are, the clients. I do some coaching as well. So you meet everybody where they are, and we can start where you are. If you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, paleo, it doesn't matter. We can find a way. If you're not metabolically sick, that 10%, keep doing whatever you want to do, because
Right.
I
Right.
I can't have any gripe with you. It doesn't matter what you're eating. If you're
Right.
metabolically healthy, the proof is in the pudding. When a patient comes and tells me, "Oh, doc, I'm doing this," I might be even unfamiliar with whatever they say they're doing.
Mhm.
But if they're feeling better and they're having measurable positive results, then keep doing what you're doing,
Right.
right?
Right. That's like when I get my blood work back, my doctor looks at me. She said, "Yours is better than mine." I'm like, "What does that tell you? I'm doing
So,
something right."
however, for most people, you need to go down to maybe the 20, 30 grams of carbs per day and be strict about it and count all the carbs, not the net carbs. Some people like to count the net carbs. I think you need to stick with 20, 30. You may be able to even do it with 50 grams. But
Mhm.
if you're metabolically sick and you're having more than 50, maybe in some cases even 100, but beyond that, you're not going to reverse, most
No.
likely, all the metabolic diseases.
Right.
Can it be done with a vegan vegetarian diet? You can probably do that. Sometimes you need a nutritional degree to be able to supplement everything that you need to supplement, because
Mhm.
a vegetarian or vegan diet is deficient in so many more nutrients that you can accuse the carnivore diet, the other extreme, to be. And
Yeah.
there's
It's wild.
not too many of those things that we can be deficient in.
Right. It's hard because there are so many facets of ways of eating. And, you can't knock one person for what they're doing. Like you said, if they're metabolically healthy and they're great, isn't that everybody's end goal is to be healthy,
Yes, yes,
regardless of how they're eating? And that's like, it's so important to me because, you hear so many horror stories about the dogmatism in this community. And it's like, leave it out, respect each other for who they are and what they do, and just hope the best for everyone. And that's all we can do.
Yes.
And it's like, ah,
One of
that's a
the
big
most
pet
common
peeve.
things, one of the most common things that probably uh, you probably get asked here as well very often
Mhm.
is coffee, coffee okay? Well, you can do whatever you want. If coffee is not helping you to achieve your goals, then it's not okay for you. If it's not bothering you, go at it. Um,
And I don't drink it anyway, so I'm good. I don't. So Andy subscribed to you. Lynn subscribed to you. Holly Springer said, good evening, friends. Sandy just subscribed. She loves you.
Sandy, you don't tell me you were not a subscriber.
Like, this is Lisa. Christ and Carnivore is my cure. She is coming on in October. She has one heck of a story. Yes. Hello, Holly and Lisa. Lisa Marie is her name. And thumbs up, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Sherry, I'm happy to hear him say that because I am metabolically healthy and have been pretty much my whole life except for the psoriasis. She calls herself a vegivore.
Okay,
She's
so
eating some meat, prefers her vegetables,
mhm.
and yeah.
If you're
Go ahead.
metabolically healthy, I'm not going to tell you to eat any different. However, many people with psoriasis get it resolved or minimize it by going the other direction.
Mhm. She's been gradually eating meat. She said she will never eat steak. She's awesome. She's awesome. Carnivore's in. I'm at 5 carbs a day or less, but still insulin resistant. Taking some time to heal, but feel really well. Feeling good is a bonus. It's absolutely a bonus.
Just
So
as
what
long as
what
you, just as long as you avoid certain things, Deb.
yep. That's awesome. My coffee allows others to achieve their goals, Shauna said. If she doesn't have her coffee, I'm assuming that's not a good thing for people. Amy said, as a health coach, I will probably not be willing to take clients that are vegan unless they are willing to change and start eating meat. Nothing against vegans. They should probably find a vegan coach. Oh,
That's, by the way, that's approach of many coaches that are on the other side, on the low carb carnivore. It's not that they love to help people, but with vegans, and by the way, I've been vegetarian. I don't think I can't consider myself ever being a vegan because I did eat eggs at least and had dairy. But uh, as if you're healthy, if you're a vegan and you're healthy, go at it. If you're vegan and you're having problems with health, you need to look into all the supplementation that you must do because you don't have vitamin B12 mostly in plants. I mean, there's maybe some algae in the on the sea. Uh, Vitamin B12, omega-3 fatty acids are very difficult, and those are essential to our life.
yeah.
If you don't eat protein, you die. If you don't eat fat, you die. The better quality fat and protein is unfortunately not in the plants because it comes with a lot of the anti-nutrients and the toxins that don't let it get absorbed. And there is no essential carbohydrate. There is no need for ingesting carbohydrates because your body's so smart that it will make all the glucose you need.
Sean is laughing about her comment about coffee. Sorry, Dr. Nelson, I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. I adore you, Sandy says.
I know that. I know that. But yes, I am with Dr. Kiltz in all their lives. Even my interviews Tuesday and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, they are on Dr. Kiltz channels. And then I also live stream it into my channel. But I had a channel before joining Dr. Kiltz.
Yeah, you need to beef up those on your channel. Like, oh, I just realized I wasn't subscribed either. Just sub, Dr. Nelson. That's Amy. I have
Thank you.
been subscribed. Amy, same. Carnivore's in. LOL, no cookies.
I didn't mention them.
I will, because keto chow makes great cookies. Just saying. That's my life.
And I've had keto chow, by the way, some of the products. I'm not against, but keto chow probably is the 1% or less of all the keto products out there. Because go to the supermarket and you see something that says keto from it, because it's just another ultra processed food that's probably got a lot of vegetable seed oils, refined
Right.
carbohydrates, and there are 200. I have a list of 262 different names that food companies use for sugar.
Oh yeah, I've seen mega lists, and it's insane. But yeah, I think keto chow is about the cleanest ingredient you can use. I love the company. I love the people. And yeah, I'm an affiliate for them. I'm just going to throw that out there. But
You know what?
there
Even though
are
I don't,
way worse things that people could do.
I am also an affiliate. I just don't promote them or don't put it on my channels or anything. But I actually have an affiliate link
There
for
you
them,
go.
and as a matter of fact, I ordered some carnivore bars. UPS says they delivered them yesterday, but I still haven't found them. I think the driver is enjoying some carnivore bars.
Oh no. My husband tried one. I wasn't about to. And he said, nope. My husband is my guinea pig when I make a different recipe. He calls himself my guinea pig.
Well,
He's like, oh.
it's basically pemmican, which the
Mhm.
American Indians, Native Americans, however you want to call it. Sorry for not
Yeah,
being politically correct, but
it's all
uh,
good.
uh, that's the way they preserve
Mhm.
meat, and it really has a shelf life. Even the way they made it, of years, who knows, 10, 20 years. They probably didn't eat it. They didn't keep it for that long because it was
Mhm.
their survival food. When they found a lot of meat, they couldn't eat it all at once. They preserved it this way and then ate it whenever they didn't find food.
Right, right. I uh I couldn't even try it because I had heard about the texture of it. It's like keto bricks. I can't get past the texture in those. It's like, nah, nope, not happening.
And that's probably because they're trying to keep it clean, as far as the ingredients. They do have a
Mhm.
different taste. I understand it's not the more hyper palatable.
Mm-mm. I can't. Jerry is here. Please do consider this and try to enlist in Dr. Nelson's carnivore coaching class starting in October. He's my professor and does a fabulous job of instruction. Well, there you go, Dr. Nelson.
Link is in the description.
It will be once I get it. I'm having fried calf liver in bacon grease tonight. I made my husband some beef liver and onions. That's his favorite. If we go out to eat and they have liver and onions, that's what he orders. I, Something
it's
else
an
that I can't.
it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I give you that. If you you don't have to eat organ meats in
Hmm.
general, not only liver. I do have a 5 pound beef heart in my freezer right now. I once in a while I eat that or liver, but most of the time I just take uh, an organ meat blend in capsules. And this is not an ad, but it is Kiltz Health uh, grass-fed
Oh,
organ blend.
I could take capsules. That's it. That's easy. They just go right down with water. That's like Terry says, I have done a complete elimination diet many times, and nothing helps my psoriasis except hardcore drugs, which at this particular time in my life I will not take. Neem oil is helping much. That's glad it's helping. That's finding something like that. That's great. And she said, I do take vitamins because I miss out. I'm not eating a lot of meat. She knows. She definitely knows. And Brian said he has a channel, but not much other than Kiltz's stuff. Well, we need to beef that up. He's got to do his own stuff along with Kiltz's. Carnivore Zen. Cindy, when you were keto, were you ever on Loving It on Keto with Wendy? I used to watch when I was keto, and your name sounds familiar. I'm carnivore 2 years, keto 7 years before that. I am still keto, and I was never on Loving It on Keto. I have met Wendy and Harry. They are fantastic people. I would love to go cook with her one day, and yeah, I still watch them, and they have mentioned my name quite a few times. But thank you so much. Yeah, I do my eating, and this is all about Dr. Nelson today, but my eating is mostly meat heavy keto. So what I do add in keto chow, whether it's in baked goods or ice cream or a shake or what have you. Once in a great stupid while, I go off plan and have something dumb and then go right back. I don't beat myself up. I just go right back to what I'm doing.
If I
But
were
typically,
going
my
to,
plate is meat.
if I were going to rate keto chow
Mhm.
uh, compared to others, because I actually buy, I don't drink it. I don't think I've ever had even one bottle, but I buy a protein shake at Sam's Club. I buy it for my wife because she, even though she does eat meat and eats red meat,
Mhm.
she doesn't have enough during the day. And it has 30 grams of protein. And if we're gonna rate keto chow with, compared to others, keto chow is above and beyond probably. I
Oh
would
yeah.
say clean ingredients. I know the owners have made an effort to have the best product out there.
Oh, absolutely. Between
So
that and their electrolytes, salty, it's like hands down. They won't put anything in it that they don't approve of,
yeah,
and that's it. It's the most. And he's so technical. Chris is such a technical guy about everything. He makes sure before it gets put on the market that it passes his inspections, his taste, his everything before he puts anything out there. I got to give them kudos because these big companies, they're not going to do that. It's nuts. Hello, both Lisas, Jerry, Brian. I'm going to put this up here. So if anybody has any questions, I can pick them out.
I see a question there. If you can highlight
Right
it,
there. Amy.
yeah, there we go.
Dr. Nelson, I'm in Dr. Barry's PhD class. Tell me why I would also Kiltz's course. Kiltz course.
You don't have to. You don't have to. By the way, I'm not competing with anyone. Doctor Barry's one of the many doctors I watch. I'm a member of his community. He's great. We happen to have a very similar story. I've been in practice for about 10 years more than him, or 10 or 15. But
Mhm.
we're both residency trained family physicians who have worked a lot in the emergency room. If you hear his story, as far as his medicine trajectory, is very, very similar. Um, and oh, you want to take it, be my guest. I'm not here to compete with anyone else. We Our first class happens to have been the day that he announced his certification course. So we started at the beginning of July, and the first day he announced it was, I think it was my first class doing the course. And you know, you can take them both. You by the way don't need either of them.
Mhm.
There is so much information out there now. Sometimes when you take a course, someone has gone through the time of putting things together, a good summary, concise information, double check the sources and all that. And unfortunately, in the free world of YouTube and Instagram, there's so many things that you don't know uh, if they're true or not. That's the truth. But
It's tough. There are so many opinions out there, and
oh yeah,
it,
uh,
it's like, what? Sometimes people have to think, what do I believe? What is the true thing? And I'm gonna give you a minute to answer that, but I would say the truest thing, and God knows I don't have any medical background. The truest thing you can find is what you've experienced, what works for you, and what makes you healthy. Hands down.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I can tell you personal experience, right?
Mhm.
Uh, like I mentioned, I've been vegetarian before. I grew up in a household where it was uh, in the 60s. The conventional wisdom, which has transcended until now, is eat more plants, less meat. Meat is inflammatory. Not true. A recent study, by the way, which I think I have in one of my tabs here,
Mhm.
evaluating information from 88 to 94 of an old study. When you reevaluate the data, you'll find sometimes that it's not really what initially was concluded. For example, this particular study I'm mentioning, eating red meat had an inverse relationship to cancer. So how many times have we heard red meat causes cancer? Even
Oh yeah.
the by the
I'm
way,
like, well,
the
that and eggs raise your cholesterol
yeah,
and
right.
this and all this stuff is like, that's what I'm saying. You hear so many different
Yeah.
things over the
So
years.
it is a paradigm shift.
Mhm.
It's sometimes incongruent to what, oh, I know that red meat is bad. Well, it's not bad. It's an anti-inflammatory, really doesn't there's no real association with cancer, and there's not many studies that can really attest to that, because you don't have studies done on you have a bunch of studies that may have done on people eating a vegan diet and vegetarian. You don't have a lot of studies done. They are coming, they are increasing in numbers, but a lot of studies done in only carnivores. Okay, there is plenty of information on low carb. We've known about ketogenic diets for over 100 years. The treatment for type 1 diabetes in particular, okay, because type 1's basically was a death sentence until insulin came around.
Yep.
And the only treatment for it was not eating any carbs. Okay. And you can go back to 4,000 years, for 4,500 years, I think. The first mention of what seems to have been diabetes, and the treatment has been for thousands of years. Cut the sugars, basically cut the carbs wherever they are, and you're going to be able to live longer. Even type 1s, now, unfortunately, because insulin wasn't around until about 100 years ago, they died very quickly.
Very young too. That
Yes,
when
yes.
when my husband was diagnosed in 1964, there still wasn't a whole lot of information out.
Yeah.
And the doctors told his parents he probably wouldn't live very long.
Yeah.
He was 2 years old, diagnosed type 1. And he is now 63
But there
and
was insulin.
thriving. Right.
There was insulin at
Well,
least.
I believe so.
Yeah.
But he is his endocrinologist. I wish they would tell these doctors, these endocrinologists that are still saying that diabetics need carbs. It makes me crazy. We had his endocrinologist that he had in New Hampshire before we moved to Kentucky. He told Brian, he said, they need you need carbs. It needs, and Brian looked at him and said, no, I don't. I don't. He'll eat broccoli on occasion, and he takes care of that. His A1C has been pretty steady at 6.4. When we left New Hampshire, it was 7.9. And his doctor was fine with that. I read an article around that same time frame that said the American Diabetes Association says that diabetics should eat 200 grams of carbs a day. And I'm like, are they trying to kill them all or what? I mean, that is insane. That's craziness. But yeah, I read that and I showed it to Brian. It was like, holy cow. Yeah,
They
that was,
want basically half your calories almost in carbs, complex carbs, and all the names they can throw at it is still glucose over glucose, because that's what the
yeah,
starch is. Uh,
it's crazy.
and then you just adjust your treatment to it, right? So if
Mhm.
you're having 2,000 calories a day, they want 1,000 calories to be from carbs, and that's excuse the language, heck of a lot of grams of carbohydrate that you don't really need.
It's a hail of a lot.
Yeah, didn't well, it's your channel, you can say it.
I didn't say that word. I said hail. Hail.
Okay.
HAIL. Hail. All right. Shauna says, I often make a keto chow in the AM using butter and my coffee. I that's that's awesome for you, Shauna. I do not drink coffee. I'll say it. Judy says, how about Equip Prime? Keto chow triggers a sugar craving for me. I will spend the rest of the starving when I know I have had enough. Starving. I have Equip protein also, and it is a beef protein. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Dr. Nelson.
I'm familiar with some of these products, and this brand happens to be among the better quality. There are some out there. I just
Right.
don't use many off the shelf products. uh, and if you can stick with the whole food, it's always better. There
Mm-hmm.
are some times when, I don't know, you want to have a soup and you don't want to do just the beef broth or bone broth, and you can, because I've had the keto chow soups. I was doing strict keto for about 6 months before I went carnivore, so
Mm-hmm.
uh, I did do some of these products as well. I had some gelatin powder, I had some bone broth powder, but the whole food is definitely the best.
Yeah. Wrong channel, Dr. Nelson. About equip, I did that. I saw that. Consider. Wrong channel. What were you talking about? What you talking about, Brian? That's the second time. Wrong channel. I grew up on liver, always loved it. Chicken livers too. Now I like Braunschweiger, which is also called chicken liver. But chicken livers, I don't know. That's why I sound familiar. Used to make her buttermilk bread. So good. I came up with an egg white bread recipe with the help of ChatGPT that is hands down the best I've tried yet. It's not choky. It's not at all dry. It's very good. Question, Dr. Nelson, what should I do to get my fasting insulin down? It's 7.3.
Well, Brian, there's so many questions that come to my mind. And Brian is like, he likes to be one of the first ones making comments in the Kiltz channels every morning. So I know you're there every day. And 7.3, by the way, on fasting insulin is not that bad. Okay. Anything under 10, in my opinion, is good. Okay. Would I like optimally the fasting insulin to be maybe under 5? Yeah, that will be probably optimal. But don't let perfection, get in the way of good, right? So fasting 7.3, it's probably okay. Also, you need to do these measurements. Fasting insulin, the insulin levels change as much as your glucose levels change during the day. So just one glucose in the morning by itself, it's not good. To give you information, I mean, it might give you information on what happened yesterday. And fasting insulin runs along with the amount of carbohydrates that you ate, because it's trying to lower your glucose and take care of that. So I would need more details, but 7.3, it's okay.
There you go, Brian. And I'm glad he asked that because I just had mine done and it was 7. So
There you go.
Donna's here. Hello, Cindy and Dr. Nelson. And Amy has another question. Is the Kiltz course training people on all spectrum of the low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore community, or is it only teaching carnivore? Are you also teaching the business side of being a coach?
We're teaching you to be a coach, concentrating on the keto and carnivore diets to be used for patients. Also lifestyle, So yes, I think is the correct answer for your question. So it's not
For all
only about being
spectrums.
carnivore.
So it's on
We
all
all,
spectrums, yeah.
yeah, we only do 3 months, and that, one class is basically orientation. The other 12 is divided half and half on coaching, and 6 of them on the science. We're going to be putting more modules out. So far, we've done, diabetes, hyperinsulinemia, cholesterol issues, and basically the most common metabolic dysfunction. And of course, talking about cholesterol. Uh, I think our price is also very fair. I'm not going to even mention the price, but it's about a fourth or a fifth of the other course that was mentioned.
Amy says, I already know what to tell people. I want a certificate to show I know what I'm doing.
And that, like I said, I'd be, if I take this line with everything, I'll be a terrible salesman, right? You don't need any courses. A lot of you can probably teach something on this spectrum, right? But yes, it's when you take a course, like I said, you're gonna have someone who's gonna streamline the information, give you the most relevant. It's still their opinion. It's most of it. It is my bias, and Dr. Berry is his biased. And we have different point of views than the guys on the other side of the nutritional spectrum. So yes, but you're gonna have someone who's basically summarized the information out there and put it in a way that when you learn, and then you have a little certificate at the end. But you don't really need that in the sense that you can certainly talk to people. I encourage, and I know Dr. Kiltz also encourages people, if you have a story to tell, get a channel, start telling it. Okay. How long, Cindy, how long have you had this channel?
About 2 years now.
2 years. And at
Yeah,
the beginning, you probably had just a few subscribers, right?
yeah,
But
yeah. I'm up to about 1,300 subscribers now.
yeah,
And
just tell
when
tell
I
your
started
story.
it, it was just that, to tell my story and the things that I've been through pre-keto and since, in hopes to help somebody, like
And
having the gastric bypass. I hope I can dissuade people from doing that if they go back and watch my story, because it was the worst thing I had ever done in my life after the repercussions that I've had from it. And it's like, if anything, if that stops one person from going through that, then my channel has been well worth it.
that's, listen, I considered it. I never
Mhm.
did it, but this guy, and this is not my heaviest. I don't have pictures of my heaviest because nobody likes to take pictures when you're that big, right? I have a bunch of pictures around that, and I don't know. I think I was 310 there or
Mhm.
so, because I do have weights from around the time of that picture. Uh, but I had hit 320 or 325 back in 1991, to be exact. I know I was almost 325. I don't have one picture of that because I didn't want to take pictures. This here are not my biggest pants either. I just couldn't find the ones that I was wearing 30 some years ago. But wherever you are, do something about it. If you don't make the decision to do something, you'll never do it. So,
Yeah. Well,
and
I
you don't
heard
have
so
to,
much. Sorry. I heard so many times, somebody needs to hear your story. Just do it.
yeah.
And then the first time I was able, I was asked on anybody's channel, it was before I started mine, Dr. Baker. And let me tell you, I was a nervous wreck. And it was in a Zoom thing for Rivero. And it only came about because I watched him with someone on it about the lymphatic system, because I was diagnosed with primary and secondary lymphedema after my knee surgeries. And I left a comment about that and how I had lost 100 pounds and blah, blah, blah. The next thing I get is an email saying Dr. Baker would like to interview you. And I about died. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was wild. CB
So
says I've got thrown off. Saw Dr. Nelson live on Instagram, so I went to Kiltz's channel. Let's put traffic to Nelson's channel. Yes, let's do that. Amy, don't you listen to Rick and I about those pieces of paper. Oh, Brian, you're full of them, dude. He's funny. Hi, CB Carmack. I see you all the time on Dr. Kilt's channel. I rarely get to watch live, but watch all the replays. It's in my daily routine. Yeah, that's an early live stream. I don't blame you.
But we do have Mondays on the community, Mondays a Zoom call at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have Tuesdays and Thursday at 3 p.m. So it's not only the 6 a.m. On Sunday, sometimes he's on at 10 a.m. whenever he can.
Mhm.
So, we have a little bit for everyone. We spend about 8 hours live.
Yeah, you guys are busy. So I'm gonna say, and then you still have your practice, right?
Well, I'm full time with Dr. Kiltz working, so I'm working on teaching now, basically on the course. I no longer see individual patients, but I'll see them. I'll do coaching sessions with them
Nice.
where I abstain myself from diagnosing and treating because those are the jobs of providers. I'm a medical doctor. I still license. I still have my malpractice insurance. I have to protect that.
You're
But
not kidding.
we'll do a coaching session with you as well.
Mhm.
And the
Very
link is
good.
on my description.
You're gonna send me all these links for you, and I'm gonna put them in the description of this.
Okay.
Dr. Nelson, you are a rock star. Donna
That,
says.
thank you.
I agree. I agree. Always heard red meat causes heart attacks. Yep. We were fed so much false information over the years, and now uncovering everything. And I've been on keto since 2020, and the amount of information that has come out that everything that we were told back in the day is false. It puts your head in a tailspin. It's like, what?
So we have to be careful. I have to be careful. You don't have to be careful, Sandy, but you have to be careful when I say that something causes anything else, right? But if you want to talk about the association of cholesterol, bad cholesterol to heart attacks, guess what has almost 1,000 times more correlation with heart attacks than LDL cholesterol, bad cholesterol? Even if you thought the story about cholesterol is true, which is not. But even if you thought that the correlation is real, you have such a minimal influence or correlation of LDL cholesterol. Guess what has almost 1,000 times more? Is diabetes. And basically, there are 10, 11 things that are more important to control or reverse than LDL cholesterol.
Right. It's being living with a diabetic, and he cannot reverse his. He can maintain his. It is so eye opening to see and hear all the different things that could go wrong with him. At his endo now here in Kentucky, he was on a statin for years. He's like, why am I taking this? His lipid panel is great. Everything is great. He
Because
quit taking it.
the reason is the pharmaceutical companies convince the powers
Uh-huh.
that be that every diabetic has to be on cholesterol medicine. So I
Right.
just mentioned this relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
Almost 1,000 more times heart attacks on people with diabetes. I'm talking about a hazard ratio of 1.38 to almost 11. So divide
Yep.
11 by the 1.38, it's 800, 900, it's almost 1,000.
Uh-huh.
So what needs to be controlled is the diabetes. The cholesterol is a very minor factor that some people believe is not even important. But certainly, even if you took as absolute truth that having an elevated LDL cholesterol increases your chances of having a heart attack, the hazard ratio is 1.38, which means 38% more than the general population might have a heart attack because you have a high LDL. But almost 1,000% more will have heart attacks when you have diabetes. So the companies made this weird connection of, okay, this cholesterol medication is going to reduce your heart attacks, even though what it's causing the heart attack is the inflammatory problems that come with high glucose levels that is damaging the inside of your arteries, and that's the basis of the complications of all the complications of diabetes is damage to the inside of the blood vessels, whether it's the kidney, your extremities, your eyes. It's all damaged. The
Uh-huh.
uh, arteries in your heart, it's all damaged from high glucose levels. In the case of type 2 diabetics, most of them with high insulin levels.
Mhm.
But even type 1 diabetics, just the fact that glucoses are very often higher than normal, that has a correlation, a higher correlation to heart attacks, causation, you know.
It's
So
tough. There's so much that can go wrong. It's like, and he's so disciplined. Since he joined keto with me 2 weeks after I started, he's very disciplined. And he wasn't before. When I first met him 21 years ago, Dr. Nelson, his A1C was 17. He was so out of control. It was crazy.
I'm sure he
Absolutely.
knows about Dr. Bernstein's book,
I
right?
have it. Are you
Okay.
kidding? I bought it. And then I started
So
reading it because he wouldn't read it.
so Dr. Bernstein was type 1 diabetic himself, right?
Yep.
He
Yep.
lived over 90. He was 90 or 91 or 92 when he died just a
Yeah.
few
He
months
just
ago.
passed away last year or so. Yeah.
No, I think even earlier this year.
Yeah.
Anyways, and basically what he taught was a below 30 grams a day diet, basically, a
Right.
keto
It
diet.
was, it was incredible.
And on average, type 1 diabetics have a life expectancy of almost 10 years less than the general population. So, of course, we cannot take one study or one anecdote and just a single case study as proof of anything. But the man lived to be over 90.
And he was still practicing. He was
Yes.
still holding Zoom calls and everything. It was amazing. So Brian said, I'm reading Gary Tobbs, and it claims 1770s for meat-based diets for type 1 diabetics. And
Because it was the
insulin
only,
came about in the
yeah,
1920s.
it was the only diet that you could have even 4,000 years ago when the first case of diabetes appears to be described. Basically, because the ones that were diagnosed with diabetes or overt diabetes usually were type 1. We didn't know at the time which one
Mhm.
was a type 1 or type 2. But most of those classic symptoms, severe symptoms, are type 1 or were type 1. I'm taking a guess. They didn't know the difference until, 100 years ago. Uh, but yes, meat only diet was the common diet for diabetics because guess what? They got better or they get controlled, managed. I don't care what word you want to use. All
Right?
right. Okay. Whether you want to manage it, control it, get it better, reverse it, put it in remission. I want you to get better. And the best way to reverse type 2 diabetes or control type 1 diabetes is just eliminating the thing that causes the glucose to go up,
Right?
which
And
is
this
carbohydrates.
is I read this too, Brian. Jocelyn was one of the ones that claimed carbs. And my husband's endocrinologist in New Hampshire worked for the Jocelyn Diabetic Association. It was insane. Yes, Dr. Nelson, congratulations on your success. You are a doctor I would trust and do trust. And
Thank you.
yes, I remember in early 2000s when the ADA started changing the diabetic diet, telling diabetics they could swap their full day of carbs for a concentrated sweet like cake. Oh my goodness. That's sad. And a PhD course should be great, but Dr. Kiltz is a master of the mind and doesn't get the credit he deserves, but Kiltz's course has Dr. Nelson and even Dr. Tony Hampton has taught in it live as well. Dr. Hampton is great too. I've had him on here. I actually got to meet him at Ketopalooza a couple of years ago. That was with the hospital I worked at, was teaching patients that it's just crazy. My motto since 2005 was no bread, potato, pasta, rice, or sugar. Lost 100 pounds and kept it off for 8 years. Gained back 50. That is all gone again, but would still like to lose another 20. And this is the one that doesn't like to eat meat. He
And
has done this successfully. Yeah.
that is the first thing I have recommended for probably over 30 years to diabetic patients.
Mhm.
Now, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Wherever I've been, I always attract Hispanics to come to my practice. And if I tell a Puerto Rican, stop eating your rice and beans, those are fighting words, okay?
Let's
I
say, are
grew
you
up
crazy?
I grew up eating rice and beans twice a day, every day. Okay.
Mhm.
Lunch in school was rice and beans. By the way, at least when I went to school, which was just a few years ago, when I went to school, everything was cooked that same day. There was no ultra processed food being served in the school lunches in Puerto Rico, but it still was rice and beans. So some kind of rice and some kind of beans. It wasn't always the same bean, of course. You have many,
Yeah.
but and then at home, rice and beans. That was a typical Puerto Rican diet to this day. It will include rice, beans, root vegetables, potato. All the sides are all high carb, and
Mhm.
there will be some meat. And whether they eat beef, chicken, pork, fish, uh, there'll be some meat, but the meat was never the primary food. Uh, if you eliminate all the refined sugar and all the white stuff, and this is found in books that are hundreds of years old, by the way, all the white stuff, that means the flours and anything that's made with that, like breads and pasta, and
Yep.
you eliminate the starchy carbohydrates, no refined sugar. What are you left with? If you're really looking at labels, you're going to be left with non-starchy whole foods. That's it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well, I'll
because
tell you, when we talk about getting rid of the white stuff, when I had my gastric bypass and the support meetings that we have prior to, they tell you this is how you need to eat afterwards. No white potatoes, eat sweet potatoes. No white rice, eat brown rice. No white breads, eat the dark breads. No regular pasta, eat the whole grain pasta. Well, all of it still has carbs. I did all.
and and the glycemic load of all of those is almost the same. Doesn't matter whether it's the whole grain. It is the grain, the problem.
Right. So
Okay.
I had lost a lot of weight, and then it gradually creeping back up after the bypass surgery, and it was like I was almost back up where I was prior to eating the way they told me to eat, and I'm like, this is nuts.
And
So
Sherry,
Sherry's just
yeah, I
go ahead.
just read the comment. Uh, Nothing that says keto on the store you should even buy, because it's just another ultra processed food. Just if you stick with eating whole foods. Now, in your case, that you don't have a lot of meat on your plate, you still want to add. You know what you want to add? The fat. If you're using oils like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, those are the only three.
Butter.
Well, but butter is animal product. Okay, so it's a different
Oh,
animal. Yes, butter, and I may clarify butter and what I have on the counter, because I do most of the cooking in the house usually, and what I have in the counter is beef tallow, clarified butter, which I need to make some. My son, if there's no clarified butter, he just cook with straight butter. And I also have some coconut oil, some avocado oil, and some olive oil. But
Mhm.
even with those, you need to be careful because sometimes they're selling you vegetable seed oils that they have used to cut the oil.
Yep. And Brian said, I've been keto since 2017, carnivore since about February this year. Before that, ketovore. Yep. You got me by a few years. I started in 2020. Thanks for answering the questions on the class. I want to consider taking both. That's a lot. Yes, I've
And by
heard
the
the
way,
price
this
is
is my
very, very.
opinion. This is my opinion. We're not in competition with anyone else.
Mhm.
We're all trying to spread the message, because you can make big changes to your health. And if you've heard my story elsewhere, if not, I'll just give you a little summary.
Yep.
uh, Reversing, putting in remission, whatever you want to say, with the diabetes, hypertension, high doses of antihypertensives, don't take any. Reversing things that were not going to kill me, like plantar fasciitis, but oh boy, it hurts. Okay, 35 years, and reflux, little eczema, nail fungus. I had one nail in my toes, one toenail, with nail fungus for several years. It's gone. Okay. And so many other things. 3 years ago, I was almost in a wheelchair, unable to walk more than 50 to 100 feet. I was falling. At work, I was able to disguise it because I would hold on to the walls if needed. Or if I went to the nurse's desk, I, a bar height uh, desk there, would put my arms around it and support myself. So they never saw me there walking with a cane. But outside that building, I had to be in a cane, or if I went to a big box store, I had to get on one of those uh,
Wow.
mobility carts. And not even going. I live near Orlando, near the parks. With the kids growing up, we used to go to the parks. I could never be walking on the park without being on a mobility, scooter. Last year, I did it 3 times, all day long. Of course, you sit down to either eat or watch a show, but you walk the park. You walk a few miles if you spend the whole day there, and then
Yep.
getting home and not having pain the next day. Amazing, unremarkable, incredible. You can use any of those words
Yep.
because I suffer with chronic pain. I have discontinued 7 to 10 prescription medications,
Wow.
and
That's impressive.
I had a stroke 7 years ago.
Holy cow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
as a matter of fact,
it's just amazing.
this picture was uh, less than a year after my stroke.
Wow.
That's how I was when I had the stroke.
It's Lisa's talking about after the gastric bypass. She wished she would could stop people. Yep. And
That's the
Amy, it's
sentiment
exactly why I started my channel.
yeah, that's that sentiment I get from almost everyone who has gone through it.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh, be,
found a blog. I restarted because I started getting hypoglycemic episodes after mine. And I went to my doctor. I said, and my doctor was very supportive of everything I was doing. And I had just started keto, a couple of years later. But I went to him and I said, I think I have hyperinsulinemic hypoglycemia. Well, he had never heard of it in that term. He
and you're
got his
absolutely right. That's exactly what was happening.
right. And I said, well, I had researched post gastric bypass, low blood sugar. And I found this blog of people that had had gastric bypass that had suffered brain damage, had to have their pancreas removed, had these hypoglycemic episodes that were so bad, it caused all the other issues. And it was like, oh my goodness. So he found it, the same blog that I found right there while I was sitting in his office. And he says, I think you're right. And he said, had so many people come to him with those symptoms. He said, you helped me out so much by doing your own research. And I'm like, everybody in the chat, you are your own best advocate. If you don't stand up for yourself with your doctors, with everybody, no one else is going to do it for you. Because I'm like, my doctor, the one in New Hampshire and the one I have now, she's an APRN. I just love her. If I ask for a certain blood test, she's no problem. She orders it. My previous doctor, when we first moved here, I asked him for a fasting insulin, a C-peptide, and I forget what it was. But I had Dr. Barry's Common Sense Labs book in my hand when I went. He said, I don't know why you're asking for these. He said, but you don't need them. He said, you don't need a fasting insulin if your glucose is fine and your A1C is fine. And he said, you don't need, oh, I asked for a ferritin check. He said, if your iron level's good, you don't need that. And he said, why are you asking for this? And I held up the book. He says, I don't know who this joker is that wrote this book, but he doesn't know the first thing he's talking about. And I'm like, that's it. I found me a different doctor because that was enough.
Well, I can tell you, he does know what he's talking about.
Oh yeah,
because I've listened to him. By the way, I may not agree 100% with all the doctors out there, and I know many of them may not agree with everything I may say, but his comment is out of ignorance. Of course, he doesn't know who this joker is because he didn't know who the person is. But he's attacking the person as being a joker.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yet I've had conversations with other physicians where, I ask. Sometimes I ask questions. I usually know the answer to all my questions. So if I ask a question, what do you do with a high insulin level? Doctors who have been doctors for several years, they don't know what to do with it because it's not something they order. Why would I order an insulin level? Well, guess what? You were talking about your follow-ups after the bypass and what was happening to you. And well, most people with, not all, but most people with severe obesity have high insulin levels. Okay. Yet that exam is not one of the ones that is done routinely, not even in those patients. Why? I don't know. Because there's no good medicine to sell for that?
I don't remember ever having my A1C checked until after I started keto in 2020. And I asked my doctor then in New Hampshire, I said, I want you to check my A1C. And he's like, okay. And it was 5.8. I had already lost 20 pounds. I already started keto. He said, you're on the right track. He said, I ain't worried about you. Within 3 months, it was back. It was in normal range and everything was good. But he says, you're doing what you need to do. And, I thank goodness because I hear so many people have a hard time with their doctors. With the exception of the joker here in Kentucky that I first saw, my husband still goes to him. I am like blessed that I have found doctors that actually listen and take their time with me and respect my opinion. And it's like, it's been great. I feel bad for the people that don't have that. Question, how do we reach out to be interviewed on Kiltz? Is that through Alia? Yes.
Yes, Alia is our assistant, and Alia at drkiltz.com, spelled out doctor at drkiltz.com, and she can hook you up. She's our dealer. She can hook you up. So she'll, depending what like I said, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. We are uh, there. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Usually that's me. And then on the Kiltz Mighty Tribe on Zoom calls at 5:30. And usually we're there try to have experts. And, whenever we can get an expert at any hour, we certainly try to do it. Dr. Gales also has the weekly podcast, but we have several choices, and Alia controls all those calendars. I do have. Did I put? No, I don't have it. I thought I had put that in my show notes, but Alia at drkills.com is the first.
Okay, Lewis is here. Say hi, Dr. Nelson, one of my favorite people. Stay on
Thank you,
carnivore.
Louis.
Waking up early will come easier. I have a hard time. No, I don't have a hard time getting up early. I have a hard time going to bed early. That's the
Well, you don't have to be there at that time. Obviously, if you're live, you can ask questions and we can address that. When you watch later, like some people here do, uh, you don't have the benefit of being able to ask a question live, but you can watch it as soon as any YouTube stream ends. It stays there forever, basically, unless you have said too many words that they don't like.
yeah. Wendy is here saying hello. And Lewis says, when I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I was put on a statin. My LDL was as low as 30 at one point. I still developed heart disease with a positive CAC score. It was the blood sugar and hyperinsulinemia.
Yeah. So controlling the number one contributory problem, which is the diabetes or any other metabolic dysfunction. When we talk about diabetes, we're talking about the dysfunction of that insulin glucose levels, which affect the cholesterol. The cholesterol are just the end result of what your insulin and glucose are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And controlling those things, especially the related to the blood sugar, which include blood sugar and insulin, which includes the obesity, the metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes. By the way, in my mind, there is no pre-diabetes. Okay, and I told this. I've met Dr. Berry a couple of times. I told this to Dr. Berry. I said, you need to put in your guidelines some language that is different from this pre-diabetes because studies show that as soon as your hemoglobin A1C goes above 5.6, your curve that's related to all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, and cancer go up. It's like J curve, okay? It's a little bit flat at the beginning, and then it goes up at 5.7. There are people who die of diabetic complications, and they were never diagnosed of diabetes because they
Mm-hmm.
never made it to the 6.5. By the way, there are 4 ways of diagnosing diabetes. A1C is the easiest one to do. It's not the only one.
Right.
But people with complications, so many, by the time they were diagnosed with diabetes, they've had the complication for 10 years. That's because that 5.6 number is so important. When you go beyond that, all your complications, incidents go up, all of them, even if you never become
Mm-hmm.
diabetic by the definition of the A1C.
Right. And he talks about a positive CAC score. We've talked about mine when I was on your channel. It is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Karen says, has a question. How do you lower high cortisol and reduce oxidative LDL?
Very good question. So cortisol is really responding to multiple factors in your body. A lot of people talk about cortisol and they're not talking about there are certain conditions where you secrete more cortisol than usual, and there, you end up developing Cushing's disease and things like that. But your cortisol is just responding to multiple other factors. So if you take care of your diet, usually, including, so it's not only a low carb diet that will help, but it's a high fat diet. It's a low carb, high fat. I think that is the best situation, whether you're eating plants or not with it. If you keep the numbers low, you'll be able to reduce all of that, because you're going to reduce basically your insulin resistance, your response to these hormonal changes in your body. And that will decrease, among other things. Now, how important is sleep? Extremely important. People who don't sleep well will develop diabetes almost regardless of diet, because it affects your blood pressure, your blood sugars. You need to sleep well. You need to learn to manage stress. We all have stress. We all have the same problems in life. I'm a regular guy. Cindy's a regular gal. We might be getting old, but we are regular people. We all have stresses. We all have risks in our lives, right? So no longer we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, but we have modern life stresses, right? So we need to deal with those. And someone had mentioned Dr. Kiltz is the mindset master, and I truly believe that. He Just yesterday we had a class on mindset for coaches, and it was a summary of what he basically talks about almost every morning. The mindset, that's very important. So you need to be exposed to daylight as early as possible, sunrise if possible. That's going to give you the best chances to go to sleep well 12 to 16 hours later. If you don't see light until it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to affect your sleep. So you need to sleep well, eat well. You need activity. Now, excessive exercise might not be good, but if you only look 200 years ago and before, to be alive, you needed to get up and go to work. Now, it might not have been work for pay, but if you wanted to grow something in the backyard, you needed to go and work. If you wanted to walk anywhere, if you had a horse, great. But if you didn't, you had to go walking. We didn't have cars, airplanes, anything like that. So our life was a lot more active, just as short as 150 to 200 years ago, right? So,
Brian says, isn't high glucose like pushing molasses through a hose?
yes. And, those who cook and want to make some caramel, what do? You put a bunch of sugar, you heat it up, right? Well, imagine those molasses going through the hose, being your arteries. That causes inflammation to the inside of the arteries. And that is the trigger point on the cascade that develops atherosclerosis, which eventually, especially in diabetes, causes all the complications.
Yep. Nava. Wow, just got here. Notification did not work. Ooh, that's not good. But I'm glad you're here now. People who fear raw fish usually miss out on it. Okay,
I love raw salmon.
Dr. Bernstein just died this past April. Thank you, Brian. I knew it wasn't long. Sherry said tortillas too for the Hispanic community.
So if you're on, you know, basically by sections, if you're in the from the Caribbean, rice is almost for everyone because whether you're Asian, South Asian, Hispanic, rice is so common all over the world, right? But yes, for Central Mexico, Central America, even some in South America, the tortillas is the same thing. I've known some Mexicans, I asked them, how many tortillas do you have a day? Oh, 12, 15. Uh, each tortilla on average probably has 40 to 50 grams of carbs. So just, multiply. And when someone has diabetes and they are eating that many tortillas, if you're completely healthy, like I said, okay, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to reverse, in particular, diabetes and all the metabolic diseases, you need to cut it out.
Yep. Amy says, my dad is white. Telling him not to eat his black beans and rice is fighting words. He will not try this lifestyle because of this. Yep.
And that has been my problem when advising that. And I know it. I understand it. But you got to do what you got to do if you want to improve.
Yep. Thomas is here saying hello.
Hello, Thomas.
Lisa said her dad is Cuban. He wouldn't know what to do without beans and rice.
Yeah.
And this, I am sorry if I passed anybody's comments by. Brian said to CB, I didn't see your comment until Cindy just passed by it. I do eat fish and wild game, but not roadkill like you Southerners. Wow. Brown white rice over white rice doesn't make sense. White rice is supposed to be easier on your digestion. Someone with gastric bypass. Yeah, that's what they tell them.
The easiest thing nowadays for the past, I don't know, 8, 10 years, we've had continuous glucose monitors, right? So I don't have to fight with people anymore. You want to eat the whole wheat bread because it's better than the regular, just check your blood sugars. Put one of those on. Check your blood sugar 3 or 4 times, uh, once an hour, every hour after you eat those things, and see if it really makes a difference. It doesn't make any significant difference. Could there be a difference? Yeah. If your blood sugar gets to 200 with white bread and gets to 180 with, whole wheat, 3-ingredient bread, do you think it was worth it?
Yeah. And Sherry said, I'm an avid label reader. I used to only look for carbs. Now I look for everything. Oh, I honestly don't eat processed foods much anymore. I'm 69 and healthy, so doing something right.
Right.
Yeah. And my sister, this is my sister Deb, she said, Sherry, same here. I'm more concerned with chemicals I don't need. Yep. Cindy O. Hi, Cindy and Dr. Nelson. It was nice meeting Dr. Nelson at Champions for Health in Kissimmee. I don't even,
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. See, I knew it was something.
We technically was in Orlando, but I drive there. It's so close to Kissimmee. So like everybody knows Disney's in Orlando, right? Well, they're not. They're really in Lake Buena Vista, which is sort of in between Orlando and Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. Jerry says she's not at all biased here, by the way. In my humble opinion, I'm very glad to have taken Dr. Nelson Kiltz's course, 100%.
The check is in the mail, Jerry.
Yeah. Brian Dish, I felt like you did eat a lot of wild game. I would hope so with the YouTube name like yours. Yep. So it has been helping me out with my diabetes. That's awesome, Thomas. Dr. Nelson has the best skin. Going back to work again. All right, back to work, Jerry. They're asking about how to highlight somebody's name. Don't you love our class? Yes. So Thomas is in it too, I take it. I'm so
Yes.
thankful for our carnivore doctors, especially when they help us navigate how to talk to our doctors. Thank you, Dr. Nelson.
And I know we demonize a little bit the doctors in general, and remember that we're taught something and we're passing it on to patients the way we were taught. But I think most doctors do go into medicine with the intention of helping people. And
Right.
if you discover something, now don't go into the doctor's office fighting with the doctor because you're going to get nowhere, right? But if you have something that you feel strongly about, like I want to order some tests and your doctor is telling you no, ask and explain why you want the test. Very often, the patient will find that you're going to be able to convince your doctor. Now, your doctor, for example, the issue of fasting insulin, most doctors they just don't know what to do with it because most doctors, unfortunately, are okay. You're here for this problem. This is the medicine that you need. I'm refilling you or giving you the medicine. I only have 10 minutes to get to the other patient. All right. So that's one of the reasons I am happy not to be doing that part of medicine anymore.
Yeah, that's a sad fact too, because they a lot of them do rush you right out because I know their schedules are jam packed.
But I
And
think most doctors, if you talk to them, explain why I want this,
mhm,
okay, without fighting with them, because you might not get anywhere if you start arguing with your doctor, right?
right. Well, what I started to tell you about my husband's endocrinologist and the statins, he quit taking them. He would get up in the morning, and he was also on a blood pressure medication for whatever reason. He'd get up in the morning real dizzy. We took his blood pressure; it was really low. So I said, "Ah." So he quit taking it. We go to his doctor. She said, "You should be on these things for preventive care because you are a diabetic." And da 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 da. And this is all I heard is blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, there was no word of his lipid panel, no word of anything except he's diabetic. And the American Diabetes Association recommends that diabetics be on all this preventive care stuff. And he's
You
like,
mean
well, I don't want to take it.
the same association that has recipes for apple pies, eat all you
Right,
want,
right,
and
right.
then just add
So,
medication as
yep.
as your dessert?
Yep. Well, my husband would sit there and he wouldn't say much. And I said, "How about this?" And I'm sitting in the corner of the room and I said, "How about he not take that statin and you give him time and do his lipid panel? And if you can guarantee to me that him taking a statin is going to prolong his life, guaranteed, he'll take it."
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she's like, like to say, "I don't know. I can't guarantee anything." That was just the look she had on her face. It has never been discussed since. He has not taken it. He feels great. It's like, it was so ridiculous. And I'm like, and then the
So
blood
they
pressure medicine, she wanted him to go back to taking a low dose. He said, "I was getting out of bed about falling over dizzy. I'm not
that
taking it."
that means it's too low, and
Right.
your, your blood pressure being too low is not good. It's not a good thing.
No, it
Now,
was crazy.
the the thing with the statins and the cholesterol is, yeah, statins do decrease cholesterol, but is decreasing cholesterol bringing you any extreme longevity benefits or decreasing incidence of strokes and heart attacks? Very little. Okay, so uh, just because something lowers cholesterol doesn't mean it's good for you. And
Mhm.
I have as proof many studies, most of them that were not published. All right, like the Minnesota coronary experiment, that was the head researcher was Ansel Keys. he took his name out of the study because it didn't give him the results he wanted. Now,
Right.
that study showed that corn oil lowered cholesterol, and the people on corn oil had more strokes. So, wait a second.
Yeah, it's
Some other
crazy.
studies have shown higher mortality. Now, it lowers cholesterol, but that doesn't translate onto you having a heart attack or not, or a cholesterol, a stroke or not. Then the issue is not lowering cholesterol. All the statins do the work in lowering cholesterol.
Yeah. It's like after that, I mean, the thing that got me is there was no mention whatsoever of his lipid panel. Same way when I went to a cardiologist, because I have a very extremely high CAC scores. And he's like, and I took a statin 20 some years ago for a very brief time. I could not move my arms without muscle pain. And I quit taking it. The doctor that prescribed it to me, the next time I went to him, I said, oh, by the way, I stopped taking that. And he's like, okay. They know that he knew that was a side effect. Nothing was ever mentioned and never had a problem with me stopping it without telling him because that's the way it is. My
Yeah.
cardiologist, the previous one I went to, he says they put in my chart that I was allergic to statins.
And pretty much it's almost an allergy. I mean, it's not a
Right.
rash or highs, but if you take the statin, it's giving you muscle pain. It's basically
Well,
an allergy.
his
Your
nurse put that in my chart. I go to see him. He comes in to see me. He said, I think you should take a statin. And I'm like, did you not read my chart that your nurse just put in this chart? And he's like,
oh,
yeah. And he says, you can't deal with a little pain. I'm going to tell you what, I felt like punching him right in the mouth.
see, that's what I call. I don't mean to be insulting to other doctors. But
Oh, it's all the way
that's a
because I've done
stupid
enough.
comment. That's a
It
stupid
is.
comment. You
It is.
know, the the most important detractors to doing something, or either detracting in the sense of the pain, but I'm gonna mention hunger. If you're hungry, you're gonna fail in your diet. It's a basic instinct. You're hungry, you want to eat, you're gonna fail. That's why diets where
Yeah.
restriction is the main thing, because you want to decrease the amount of calories, they never work. And
Mhm.
anything that's going to give you pain, pain is a behavioral modification
Mhm.
thing.
It was
Okay.
it
What?
was just a crazy, crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't go to him anymore. I'll just say I have changed doctors more than I ever have since I've been to Kentucky.
For years, I've been telling my patients, if you don't like your doctor, because they complain to me about this specialist, and there might be an occasional patient didn't like me. Hey, I'm if they anyone complain to me, not in a very bad way, I would say, you're free to change your doctor.
Yeah,
Nobody's forcing you, whether it's me or someone else. But
yeah,
by all means, be comfortable with your provider, your doctor, your nurse practitioner, your physician assistant, whoever it is,
uh-huh.
because if you're not happy with the interaction, you're not going to listen to what they tell you anyways.
Yep.
And it's just not going to be conducive for any improvement.
Yeah,
So change your doctor if you don't like the doctor. Now, some people may not be as easy because of the insurance constraints, or they live in a small town where there's no other choices, things like that. But by all means, change your provider.
yeah. Thomas says, sad. I was listening to my roommate today, and he was saying that he has no choice but to do what his doctor says and has to take the meds she prescribed. What is really sad is he just watched Mimi Rogers' story, which he has Parkinson's as well, and still thinks meds are the only way he can be helped. I
I have I I have this even within my family, people who have, obviously have seen the change, but they want to do it their way, and they try to do it with medication. And hey, whichever way you can feel better, then try it. But if I've been able to go off a bunch of medicines, I have resolved chronic pain, among other things. When I eat only meat, I don't get hungry. I just had a 22-day fast at the end of July. Uh, diabetes, reversing hypertension. I don't know if I am able to extend anyone's life or mine. So this life expectancy and longevity studies, it's all good and dandy, but nobody can prove to me that you live one more day just because you change something. I have no idea. I can tell you that if the last 10 years of my life I spend them in a bed, it's going to be very different than spending them with a better quality of life. So
right.
I have a better
That's what I
quality.
was gonna. That's what I
Yeah.
was gonna say. I
Yeah.
really believe that our fate is determined when we're gonna go, but
So
the quality of life that you have while you're living that life is what makes the difference.
yes. And some people believe we have a clock, for example,
Mhm.
at the end of the clock, it's the end of your life. But if you're, at least you're able to improve your quality of life and make it better. And those who, I've mentioned this a few times, those who believe in the Bible, you can go to your Bible, and David, who lived about 3,000 years ago, in Psalms 90:10, is telling God that we live about 70 years, the strongest of us, 80. Well, guess what the life expectancy is in 2025? It is that. So we haven't changed life expectancy in 3,000 years. All right. But if you can improve your quality of life, I think that you're going to spend those years happier than if
Right.
you were in a bed.
Well, you're actually living your life instead of just existing.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Maureen, I didn't want to pass you by without saying hello. Thank you for being here. CB says how I just saw they increased A1C to 7 or 8 to be considered type 2 diabetic. That's
I don't know if that they increased it as a diagnosis criteria. What happens is they no longer recommend that you push your patients to be under 7. And as you get older, the older people, you tolerate even 8. I agree with that if you're going to be doing it with insulin and medications. That's the wrong way, because intensive treatment with medications just to lower the A1C doesn't give good results. It's the same as thinking just because cholesterol is lower, but if your mortality and incidence of cardiovascular disease is going to be higher, then it doesn't make sense, right? But if you do it with lifestyle, and that includes your food is the most important change in lifestyle, and exercise. Now, it's not the old thing, eat less, exercise more, but if you really make a change in your diet by consuming less carbohydrates, eating whole foods, whatever you eat, eliminating all the white stuff, eating your meat. If you don't eat meat, then you need to add other sources of vegetable protein, which are not the same quality as the animal protein, but and you need to eat fat. You need to add fat. Now, for a vegetarian or a vegan, now if you eat fish and eat dairy, it's easier to add the animal fat because it is the animal fat that is best used for all our cells of our body. About half the brain, 40 to 50% is fat. About half of that is cholesterol. Every single cell of your body makes cholesterol. If it wasn't important, you think it would be that way?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Some things just don't make sense. Lisa is here. Hello, Lisa. Bill
Lisa
Cook is here.
Ortega.
Lisa Ortega. Yes. She's amazing. I met with her a couple times at local meetups, and she's just great. The law of attraction, being believe positive or negative, both will happen. Yeah, whatever you believe, that's that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
Bill said, I work today.
Zig Ziglar used to say, if you think you can't, you can't. If you think you can, you can.
Yeah. In my Facebook page, my keto support page, I post a positive quote every day because people need to hear that. You know, I work today 3 miles.
My current book,
The Art of Living with Intent.
yes,
Yep.
it's an old book, by the way, but
Yep. Bill says, I worked today 3 miles, I think walked today 3 miles with 52-pound backpack. Woo! You know, losing
that's
100
heavy.
pounds, I can't imagine carrying that around. When you lose that much weight and then you think of actually carrying it around, no. Found Dr. Bernstein's book, Diabetes Solution, at the thrift store. Holy cow, you got a gold mine there. I learned so much from these lives. Thank you. Sherry, you're awesome. And I know we've been at this for a very long time, and I've taken up a lot of your time, Dr. Nelson, and I appreciate it so much. Sometimes it's not the doctor, it's the insurance companies. That's true sometimes. In my case with that first one, it was the doctor. He was just a jerk. I'm sorry. You know what I called him? All right. If I didn't get to your comment tonight, I am really, really sorry. Rick, I see you're here. Susie, thank you. Evelyn, I know you've been at a fair with your daughter. Anyhow, let me go back to that one so I can get it off of the screen. When I went to this doctor the very first time that I no longer go to, I called him Dr. Quack. He was that annoying. And I really have the utmost respect for anybody that's gone through all the medical training and all the years. I have an ex-brother-in-law who is an anesthesiologist down in Florida. He is a fantastic person, and hands down, y'all deserve everything with all the training you have to go through and all the, I don't think I could have done it. However, when you get people that just take advantage of that and are just not the nicest, to put it in the nicest way possible, you kind of have to stick up for yourself because it's crazy.
You are your own best advocate, and you
Yep.
will always be. There's no one who's going to advocate, not even your spouse. And hopefully, your spouse does advocate passionately for you. But if you don't do it for yourself, nobody is going to do it for you.
Well, see, my husband is pretty quiet typically. So when I don't know if he hates me coming with him because I won't be quiet or what, but Karen just subscribed to your channel too.
Thank you.
But it's like, he has finally spoken up, especially with his endocrinologist. but she has backed off considerably since all that. And it's like, you know, it's all good. But anyway, I am good. Like I said, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comments in the chat. I appreciate every one of you as spending almost 2 hours with us on a Friday night. And Dr. Nelson, it's been a long night for you, I'm sure. And I'm really sorry to take up so much time.
Not a problem, not a problem.
But this has been great, and I appreciate you so much. And again, if you guys are not subscribed to Dr. Nelson, get in there. And Brian says, thank you, Dr. Nelson, for coming on Cindy's channel and taking time out of your time. And yes, I truly appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this. I look forward to all of them, but I've really been looking forward to this. And you all have a great night, everyone in the chat. And I will see you all on Wednesday with Brian for What the Hell. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night.